11.1 Assessment of penalties. 11.1.1 Verbal warnings. Referees will issue verbal warnings for the following infractions, not only limited to A. First offense of failure to obey a referee's instructions. B. First offense to put their hand on their head after being eliminated. 11.1.2 Elimination. Referees will eliminate players on the field for the following infractions, not only limited to A. Abuse of calls for paint checks. B. Use of inappropriate language per incident. Other penalties may apply. C. Subsequent failure to obey a referee's instructions. D. Going out of bounds or moving the boundary tape. E. Marked with a valid hit. F. Failure to make a touchback while not having the barrel tip touching the front of the base at the start signal. G. Posting of the marker or firing it after the start signal regardless as to whether they later touch back. H. Failure to wear goggles inside the field during the game period. I. Failure to present WPBO ID card at the request of the referee during the game. J. Interference or communication during the game in the pit area by a person affiliated with the team. K. Excessive shooting, shooting a player more than is reasonably enough to effect elimination. L. Altering the playing field in-game on purpose. M. A player forcing themselves between two bunkers that have been positioned together to create one bunker. N. Using a marker that is chronographed on the field between 301 and 310 feet per second. 11.1.3 Minor penalty, removal of the player who committed the infraction and a teammate. Assessment of the 1-for-1 penalty to players on the field will take place for the following infractions, not only limited to A. Continuing to play with a hit in any part of the body or equipment, for example, shooting, posting, talking, moving forward. B. Checking in as a live player at the end of a game with a hit. C. Using a marker that is chronographed on the field at 324 feet per second. D. Communicating to anyone after being eliminated. E. Possessing prohibited clothing or equipment on the field of play. F. Any person who shoots towards the spectator sideline or opponent's end line during a break period. G. Any person who engages in aggressive or insulting behavior towards another person, except a referee. 11.1.4 Major penalty, removal of the player who committed the infraction and two teammates. Assessment of the 2-for-1 rule to players on the field will take place for the following infractions, but not only limited to A. Playing on that materially influences the course of the game, giving the offending player's team a significant advantage. B. An eliminated player who shoots at an opposing player from inbounds. C. Using a marker that is chronographed on the field at 325 feet per second or above. 20. 11.1.5 Gross major penalty, removal of the player who committed the infraction and three teammates. Also, the player who committed the infraction will receive a minor suspension, suspended for the remainder of the game and the team's next game. Assessment of the 3-for-1 rule to players on the field will take place for the following infractions, not only limited to wiping. Wiping means that a player is actively and deliberately removing or attempting to remove paint markings in order to avoid being eliminated or avoid a referee's call. Players who are observed discarding squeegees, rags or pods on which there is a hit or paint marks that resemble a hit in order to avoid elimination or avoid a referee's call shall be penalized for wiping. An eliminated player who shoots at a player from out of bounds. Re-entering the field after elimination in order to interfere in the ongoing game without being asked by a referee. Tampering with one's marker during the game of play. Using any tool or adjusting setting during the game is forbidden, including from the time the point starts until the time the player exits the field and re-enters the pit area. Excluding a player turning the marker on and off, and turning the vision system of the marker on and off. Any person who engages in aggressive or insulting behavior towards a referee. Any person who throws any equipment on the field of play other than an air source or disposable equipment.